good.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. Let's see. So Jamie has joined us. Maybe you could turn your screen on. There may be a few others that join us, but as I say, I know several had asked for a recording. So
Yeah, not a problem.
yeah, Jamie, are you listening? Or feel free to turn your screen on if that works. Okay, well, I will welcome Twyla Kirchen from Rocky Mountain Occupational Therapy Program, and I'm recording this presentation, so we'll put up on our student website so those who are interested in OT can hear more, and I'll encourage them to contact you directly if they've have further questions.
That sounds great.
So you're on.
All right. Well, I know we have one participant, so at the end, I'll ask if you have any questions, and at any time really, just jump in if you have a question about the content. So I will just say that the reason we have a program at Rocky Mountain College is I am a 5th generation Montanan. I joined the military and left Montana about 30 years ago, maybe 35 now. And I have parents in their 80s. I'm their only daughter. And I wanted to come back. So I was a commander in the Army. And I also went to UNC Chapel Hill for my master's degree, and my PhDs from Texas Women's University. I was in both Dallas and Houston campuses. I was a program director at James Madison University before I decided to come back to Montana. Literally, I visited my parents, I don't know, 6 summers ago, realized that they needed more support. Wanted to do something for this part of the country, which is so near and dear to my heart. So I decided just to reach out to Rocky and see how they felt about having an OT program. And they were in the midst of adding a second clinical program. They have PA. And it definitely was meant to be. I'll show you in later slides, have a brand new building. The whole top floor is dedicated to the occupational therapy doctorate program. We were allowed to hire 7 full-time faculty at a very competitive salary to other places in the country. And so I do believe that it was all meant to be. And that's sort of how the program came into fruition. The focus of the program, I very much wrote it to the needs of Montana. We have a focus in mental health. We have a focus in rural health and entrepreneurship, growing OT jobs in this region, because Montana has the second fewest number of OTs in the entire country. So the faculty and staff that you see and consultants on this page are remarkable individuals. I'll tell you a little bit about each of them. We have one individual that we just hired, Dr. Kendra Joyce, who is taking over our director of administration and also our farming, ranching, and agricultural content that is embedded into our program. And she's quite remarkable in all that she's doing for us. She's not pictured yet, but we'll get her up here. I think I'll start with Dr. Briggs. Kaylin is from Glendive. She and I met at Texas Women's University and decided that we would someday get together and start a program here in Montana, and we did. She is an amazing fieldwork coordinator, placing our students easily through COVID with great success. Next to Dr. Briggs is Dr. Carroll. She was my student when I was the head of the director of the VA Veterans Home in North Carolina. And she is also from UNC Chapel Hill. She just finished there with her PhD in occupational science. She picked up my research line of veterans and resilience and is widely published, and she is our director of research. Down below is Dr. Nordic. He is our capstone coordinator. He is from Colorado, and he is very passionate about the environment as well as assistive technology. I'm going to jump over Dr. Patel and go to Amy Roberts. Professor Roberts is the owner and operators of Blue Skies Pediatrics here in Billings, Montana, and she teaches our pediatrics content, along with Dr. Thompson, or Professor Thompson, who is the head of OT in the Billings Clinic NICU, as well as she works in adult acute care in Billings Clinic. Some of our other individuals that are in the picture are consultants that help us with our research. We are very heavily invested in research in this region. We have 3 large grant-funded research projects, one at the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch, which I'll tell you more about in a bit. Another with Professor Thompson with at-risk moms. It's called the Moms Grant, and it's helping, it's a virtual online program. We also have, Dr. Carroll got a grant to support her research, looking for ways that we can support our veterans in Montana. And so our students get stipends from all of those grants. Dr. Joe is our biostatistician to help us with running our statistics. And Dr. Patel was our first director of research. She is now at University of Southern California. She is assistant director of the pharmacy school, and she still helps us find grants as well. Dr. Faison she is a full faculty at Duke University. She was a classmate of mine at UNC Chapel Hill, and she is currently our entrepreneurial expert as she runs a business in the research triangle of the Raleigh-Durham area in North Carolina. And Cody Halverson is our admissions person, and so he works with both OT and PA. So that is a little bit about us. I have been an OT for 22 years. I was in the military before. I am a veteran. My lines of research and my work, I've worked all 20 of the 22 years, and I still work and practice. I started out in pediatrics, doing home health in rural North Carolina, went into schools and then school-based OT, and then skilled nursing. And currently I am the director of the OT clinic at the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch. So now I'm in adolescent mental health, which is lovely. What I think is really unique about our program at Rocky Mountain College is that all of us that teach practice in the areas that we teach. So we're able to connect our students with the most current and relevant aspects of practice, as well as provide opportunities. Students work under my license at the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch, doing fieldwork 1, 2, and capstone. And then sometimes we hire students who are just very interested. And so that gives them the opportunity to see what happens in OT and mental health. And also some of them are able to get paid as well. So I don't know how much you know about Rocky Mountain College, but it was originated in 1878. Our president is Dr. Bob Wilmoth. He's a retired cardiac thoracic surgeon who worked at Billings Clinic for many years. Our academic vice president is Dr. Reeser, and our provost is Anthony Piltz. And Rocky has a beautiful campus of very old buildings. We have a very new building. So this is our, and maybe at some point you all can come and visit. On the first floor of this building is our cadaver lab and our anatomy lab, which our students take their first semester in the program. Our program expands the whole top floor. We have a home environment lab, an interactive lab, a classroom, study nooks, a conference room, and there are other rooms and study areas available throughout the entire building. There's also a virtual reality lab on the first floor that we use. 2 of our faculty, myself and Dr. Briggs, are in this building, and then we have the Bayer building, which they renovated a wing that have the remaining part of our faculty and a conference room. But the building is very beautiful, and we feel we're very fortunate to be able to have it for classes. So this is our mission statement. It was one of the very first things I wrote when I began writing the program. And we do what it says. We prepare excellent clinicians, educators, researchers, and future leaders in the profession. And we really do want to teach in experiential hands-on. Our program is 100% face-to-face. Even in the height of COVID, we were only online for 2 months. So we feel like teaching and learning is best done in an entry-level clinical program face-to-face. So, and we were really passionate about expanding the unique knowledge of the health benefits of OT in this region. So these are our threads that our program is built upon. We are very much focused on interdisciplinary work. We have several things going with that. We do work with our PA program, but we're also part of an interdisciplinary clinic that is going to be housed out of the community crisis center that has PA students, OT students, I think nursing, dietetics, and a variety of other disciplines, students from disciplines. And right now, the focus of that is foot care for our homeless population. We are continuing to look for ways to grow and expand that interdisciplinary piece. Embracing diversity was incredibly important to me personally. We looked for diverse teaching faculty as well as students, because we believe that we learn best when we learn from people and individuals who are different from ourselves. Most of our program is built on community engagement. Many of the projects and assignments are related to needs within the community. So the students are getting to do something that matters, and the community is getting to learn about the distinct value of OT. This is a lifelong profession. So learning and knowing that you'll never know everything, and that research is continually changing as is practice, and embracing that from day one is important to us. Again, and I've mentioned repeatedly that we are really committed to promoting the distinct value of OT. So what's unique about our program? Again, we are 100% face-to-face, which is really, I'm now a chair for ACO, which is the reviewer for OT programs. So I go all over the country looking at other programs. And I can say that there are many that are face-to-face, or the majority of their coursework, I mean, not face-to-face, online. And, you know, COVID kind of shifted that for us, but I continue to feel like, you know, face-to-face, hands-on learning is the best way for an OT program to be. You didn't get to see the inside of our space, but you heard about it, and it really is a rival to many other programs in the country. I wrote this program specifically to meet the needs of Montana, so I'm incredibly proud of that. We do focus on teaching. If the difference between a master's level OT and a doctorate level is that you do a capstone project your final semester, but another difference is if with an OTD you can teach. So we prepare our students to be able to do that if they so choose. We have incredibly qualified faculty. The program is student-centered, so we are constantly asking students for their feedback, and they really feel like they have ownership in our program, and we have had great support from our leadership.
I'm going to jump in. Can you go back to the previous slide there?
Yeah.
So you talk about designed to meet the needs of Montana. What does that mean? And say, how is Montana in terms of occupational therapy? How are the needs different, say, from North Carolina, where you'd been previously?
Yeah, well, usually, I came from Virginia.
Okay, or Virginia.
Yeah. And so there are 17 OT programs in Virginia right now. North Carolina, there are 12. We have very few here in Montana. So there are 17,000 OTs in Virginia. We have less than 500 here in Montana. Our needs are very much centered on agricultural and farming and ranching. And we have, our Native American, 7 reservations in the state of Montana. That's another thing that makes us very unique. We also have one of the highest suicide rates per capita. As you know, compared to any other state. We also have one of the highest number of kids in foster care. Mm-hmm. So when we look at all of those needs globally, that's why we decided to launch our clinic at the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch. We are the first OT clinic that's been housed on campus, and they hired one of our graduates at a highly, highly competitive salary because of the work that we were able to demonstrate that we could do there. I think that, you know, that focus of our program on rural health and actually veterans, we have the second highest number of veterans also, which I had no idea until recently. And so much of our research are focused on those areas.
Mhm. No,
So,
that makes sense. I just wanted to follow it up on the
yeah.
Montana connection.
Yeah, yep, that's what makes us different. And so we're very much entrepreneurial. So thinking outside of the box. There are many traditional programs where students will, just like any program, they'll sit and listen to a two-hour lecture and their tests are multiple choice. Our program isn't that way. You know, every lecture we have a hands-on component. You know, for example, our assistive technology class, we identify individuals in the community who have assistive technology needs, and our students actually design a piece of equipment or purchase a piece of equipment through our program and give that to the individual or family so that they can use it. And if they can benefit from it, they get to keep it. So those are the kinds of assignments that we do. You know, and I think they're really powerful for both students and our community.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah. So this is our field work. We have two kinds of field work. Field work 1 is embedded in the first 2 years. And field work 2 is in the third year. And those are 2 12-week rotations in the third year. But in order to help our students really connect with the content they're learning, we have a pediatrics, an adult-based, and a mental health intervention semester. And those semesters, the students are out in the community, assigned to different agencies. These are students during their adult-based fieldwork 1 rotation. They're paired with Eagle Mount, who help individuals who have disabilities engage in recreational activities like skiing. I think they do fishing and all kinds of different things. So the students spent the morning helping individuals ski, and then in the afternoon they got a pass and were able to ski on their own. So that's another way that we connect with Montana, right? So what's important to the people that live here, and outdoor activities are definitely at the top of the list. Capstone is one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, that make a doctorate program different from a master's program. And what that capstone entails is during the first 2 years of the didactic, the students, they build their capstone project. And it can be in any of these areas. It can be advanced clinical, and in that case, they would need to be with an OT. They can advance their research skills. They can do admin. It can be leadership. A lot of students do program development, and I'll talk about one of our shining stars in a minute. Advocacy, education. I've had 2 students come and teach in our program as part of their capstone, and or theory development, which does not get many bites, but maybe someday it will. But cutting fences is a really great example. Kendra Joyce, Dr. Joyce, is now on faculty with us. Her capstone was she designed a podcast which interviews farmers and ranchers in our area in the state of Montana who have sustained an injury while farming and ranching, and had them tell their stories. And if you haven't listened to one of her podcasts, I highly recommend it. Every single time it moves me to tears. The other thing that Kendra was able to do through her capstone is partner with a lift system that helps farmers and ranchers get back into their vehicles, their tractors and such after they've been injured. And the lift system's out of the Midwest. They asked if Kendra would be interested in working for them so they didn't have to come out all the way out here to do the evaluation. So she's accepted a position helping them. In addition, Craig Rehab out of Denver consults with Kendra regarding farmers and ranchers that are there for treatment and are coming back to Montana and need someone to sort of help bridge the gap, because Kendra grew up on a ranch in Montana in Geraldine. And she is very much, very passionate about her work and promoting OT through the farming and ranching community. So This is a picture of some of our students doing a research presentation. We just got back from AOTA conference in San Antonio about a week ago, where 16 of our students presented their research. I did a 3-hour workshop on the lived experience of psychosis. I teach mental health. Our students have different classes, just 9 different groups were accepted to present in San Diego at the Society for the Study of Occupation. And so we're really getting our work out there, and with 3 large grants, 2 of which are NIH related, we are really proud of the work that we're doing. So this is a picture of me and 2 of our students. This is Dr. Nordic, now he's graduated. We're standing outside our building that was given to us by the Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch. It's also grant funded by INBRE. We provide OT services to about 30 kids on campus. And I don't know if you know much about Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch, but it is a functioning ranch. They raise pheasants. They have cattle and horses. They have a large heated equine stable where our current graduate who's working there, Taylor Clark, is able to see kids. She's got an extensive background in horsemanship. So, but there's a pool, a gym, a pottery barn, a bike studio, small engines. You can go hiking and fishing. It's a remarkable place to provide OT services, and I go every Friday, and it's really the highlight of my entire week. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity and the clinic that we've launched there.
Are they using hippotherapy then as part of occupational therapy? We've had some students who are interested in physical therapy or possibly occupational therapy, but interested in the use of horses in an active therapeutic sense, hippotherapy.
Yeah, Taylor's not hippotherapy certified, but she is able to use horses as a therapeutic tool and bill for that. So yeah, I mean, that's part of her OT session, or the use of the horses. And the cool thing is the horses have been donated, and they have behavioral issues of their own, or some kind of physical reason that they have a Clydesdale who's beautiful. And so what's interesting is the kids kind of identify with those horses in their own kind of way. And it is really incredible to watch. And we've hosted a rodeo, an art show, and all kinds of things out there to really help the kids build confidence and feel good about using their time in healthy ways. So this is Amy Roberts, Professor Roberts' clinic, Blue Skies, and she takes our students into her clinic. She is a sensory integration specialist. I would say autism is probably her true specialty. She has about 150 swings that she makes, has made most of, but this is just one of our engaged in learning experiences at Rocky. Our students also have a student organization. SOTA is what they're called, and they do all kinds of things. Here they're getting ready for the Alzheimer's walk that was held on our campus, I think last year. And we are fully accredited right now by ACO. We received our full accreditation in August of last year. It was about a 5-year process from the beginning of submission to completion, and we did not receive any areas of concern, but I think 5 areas of strength. So this is our curriculum. It's kind of cumbersome, so I won't go through all of it, but our classes always begin in January. The first semester is really an overview. It's also our anatomy semester, and we pair anatomy with a movement lab. So if you're learning about see a rotator cuff tear on a cadaver, then you learn what to do about it in the clinic. And we think making that connection really helps students retain that information. We do longer full semesters, and our summers are condensed or flipped classrooms. And we do that so that the students get a break from about the middle of July to the end of August. And they have a similar break during the holiday. you can see the classes that are listed here. In the fall, they go into the pediatrics semester, and you can see research is interwoven throughout. During the pediatrics semester, that's where they would be in a pediatric placement out in our community. Our assistive technology is there. And this is our seminar series, which is unique to Rocky Mountain College. It was the first seminar that I wrote, and it really is what embraces the uniqueness of Montana, because you can see it. We talk about what is rural, what is agriculture based. There are so many needs in rural Montana for OTs. Places that have been waiting 10 years, right, for an OT and can't get one. So we're hoping to get our students excited about what it looks like to be in a rural place. And we've developed a mentoring program to help support them should they decide to stay there. So that's one of the things that we're excited about. But that also is a series that helps the students build and prepare their capstone project. The next year starts out with adults, and the summer goes into management leadership. That's where we start our teaching practicum. And then in fall of the second year is all things mental health. We worked very closely with Yellowstone Boys and Girls Ranch. And so the students get to learn how to run groups, and then they actually go to YBGR and run a real group with the kids that are there, which the kids love it. And it's so much better than pretending, right? So we're really proud of the classes that we have that are so embedded into our community here. The third year is field work and your capstone. You actually do your capstone, and then you come back and disseminate it. We also, during that week that students are coming back, we hire a company to teach our students how to take the board exam, which is our national NBCOT exam. We also do some mock interviewing. I'd give a class on how to negotiate, which is really important. I took my first job and did not ask how much I was going to be making, and that was quite a shocker. So I don't want any of our students to do the same thing. And then the students they graduate right after that, and all of our classes will graduate before Thanksgiving in November. We do that so that they can rest over the holidays and study and get ready for their board exam. Their grades are conferred in January, and then they're eligible to sit for their exam. So, and 20 of our 29 first class have taken and passed their board exam. The majority, in fact, in all of them have been offered at least one job. The average salary being offered is between $86,000 and $89,000. So we're pretty happy with that for them.
Are those Montana salaries, or would the starting salary in Montana be different, or?
Montana salaries are a little lower. I will tell you the salary that we were able to obtain for our one mental health based OT is comparable to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, they're all over the United States. Peds jobs tend to be a little lower than adult based jobs. So that's everywhere.
Yeah. Are there any specialties or areas of focus that seem to be more in demand than others, or is that regionally going to be variable, or how would you characterize that?
I think we're starting to see a move towards the mental health jobs. So we've had another one of our graduates take a job in an acute mental health hospital in Wisconsin, and she's making nearly $90,000 for that job. So that's very surprising to me, but I think there's a trend towards that, especially with the repercussions of COVID. You know, it's left us affected in ways I think we're yet to even realize. So hospital jobs are always big, schools are big, and also academia. We're really short on faculty. We're not right now, thank goodness, at Rocky, but I just got back from a conference where almost every program in the country are looking for faculty.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What are you seeing in terms of COVID? I asked in terms of my brother is a physical therapist, and he said he's getting a certain number of patients who are being sent to physical therapy for these so-called long COVID symptoms. And we we were talking about that a little bit, and I guess you're probably seeing that as well, just sort of the unknowns or the multitude of symptoms and just how to treat it. And quite honestly, my brother said he was having a hard time. It seemed his report was everything he did with his patient seemed to make it worse. So
Yeah.
wasn't terribly encouraging.
No, yeah, we're seeing that as well. And I think it's kind of, trial and error right now because we're not really sure, some of the symptoms are so random.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it has been, I mean, some of my graduates from JMU have contacted me, and those in acute care are really, pretty burnt out because of the COVID patients and the workload. So, yeah, so it's been challenging for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. One of the things that we're really adamant about is being all of the faculty and students are part of AOTA and the Montana OT Association. Dr. Briggs is the vice president of MOTA. I sit on I'm the chair for the Montana OT licensure board. I'm also a chair for ACOT. Dr. Briggs does all kinds of things for AOTA. And so we really try to lead by example, and we want our students to be lifelong learners, so that we ask that they join these associations as well. We are also all part of the Society of the Study of Occupation as well. So all of those things I think are really important. What are we looking for in our students? This is kind of a list. I won't read it, but I will tell you that being able to think outside of the box, being a good advocate, not only for your patients and your profession, but for yourself, is really important. Being a team player, all of these kinds of things are what would make an OT student successful in our program. So just a little bit about our program admissions process. We accept up to 30 students every year. As I mentioned, classes begin in January. We're off cycle because we had the option of launching our program sooner, and we took that with ACOT. So that's why we're kind of off cycle, which has its benefits in some ways. We do use the OT CAS application system like many other programs in the country. You do have to have a bachelor's degree to apply to our program, but you can be close to, a year out and still apply, because we do rolling admissions. So that means that we are continually interviewing students twice a month, every month. And we've placed students up to 2 years out if they're interested. And we think they're a fit and they think we are. We do ask for a minimum GPA of 3.0. We under special circumstances will consider a hardship situation. So that is something that because we don't want our students to be a number. We want our students, we want them to feel seen and heard and valued. So let's see what else. There are prerequisites. They're listed on our website. If a student again gets admitted into the program without completing all the prerequisites, then that's fine, but they have to have completed them by the time they come into the program with at least a C-. We ask that students have 3 references, and all of this is in OT CAS. And one of the references needs to be an OT. We did have a requirement for a GRE and for observation hours, but due to COVID, it's been really hard for some applicants to do that. So they're recommended, but not required. So that is in a nutshell what we require for admissions. These are the prerequisite courses. One of the other things that's changed due to COVID is we used to require that anatomy, that the students have 2 anatomies, 1 and 2, and that the lab be done in person, and we waived that. So now it's recommended, just because there were and still are some challenges with students across the country. Many schools on the East Coast are still online. So it would not be reasonable to expect a student to have an in-person lab when there's not the option to do that. again, getting observation hours, even though we are recommending it but not requiring it, is important, because we don't want to have a student that goes through all the work to get admitted into the program and then gets in and is like, I don't really know if this is for me, because it's a lot of work for us and it's a lot of work for them. So getting those observation hours in a pediatric and an adult-based setting is really helpful, just to make sure that you really are certain that OT is the right path for you. And there is an essay that you would complete in OT CAS as well. And it kind of is just asking, like, what is it about OT that resonates with you? And, making sure you spell check it and it's, grammatically correct is really helpful. And it shouldn't be a list of your accomplishments. It really should be, why does OT really speak to you? So some of the things about Rocky, jumping back, that are kind of unique is we have a really incredible building, which I've talked about. We also have the Rocky Equine program, which we partner with on a regular basis, and they offer a degree in therapeutic riding, but their faculty are wonderful, and we work with them a lot. We also have an undergraduate health and human performance program that is, their faculty are wonderful as well. And then again, I mentioned the PA program, and they've been there about 25 or 26 years now. So what OT looked like before COVID was there was a projected 18% growth between 2018 and 2028. With a starting salary at 84,000. We're seeing our most recent graduates who graduated in November of 2021. They're above that. So it tends to increase pretty rapidly, but that's not a bad starting salary. So are there any questions?
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to call Jamie. Are you listening, or any questions?
I don't have any that I can think of at the top of my head right now.
Okay, well, I think you'll be able to have my contact information, and you can always, if you Google RMC OTD program, will come up, and my email, everything, contact information is there. And if you ever have any questions, just let me know.
Sure. Actually, I was also interested, Twyla, you mentioned accepting 30 students. Ballpark, how many applicants are you getting? Or I'm gathering it's moderately, very selective. What kind of numbers can you share with us?
So those that initiate the process, we get about 600 to 800 a cycle. Those that are really qualified and finish everything, about 120. Okay. And so, yeah, and applicants across the country are down right now, probably most likely to COVID. We look very closely at our Montana applicants, but we try to be fair. But we're very much looking for individuals who are invested in Montana and are interested in maybe staying here and helping us grow this network of OTs in this area that so badly needs them. So.
Is in the application ranking, are there any preferences given to Montana residents, or?
They're depending on the size. So we do give like a 5-point bonus to those who come from very rural places. And most of our Montana kids benefit, they benefit from that. But yeah, we're always excited when we get Montana applicants, and we've had some great students and graduates from Carroll.
Yeah, I think I've been on the Oddcast. I'm functioning as the occupational therapy advisor here, and not all students work with me, but I certainly have had several, and I'm thinking of a few that have gone to, at least a couple that have gone to Rocky Mountain College. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, we're proud of them. They're very well prepared. your
Yeah.
Carroll students are very well prepared, so we're always glad to have them.
Yeah, how does it work? This is a question that came up in a different presentation. Are students able to work part-time while they're going to school? Is that discouraged? Is their schedule set up so that they can if it's financially necessary? Or can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so we caution students the first semester to be a little bit like just to get settled, right? Because it's kind of a transition from undergraduate or from other life experiences to come into a graduate program. And the first semester tends to be a little bit tougher just because you've got anatomy and all, everything's new. But I would say probably about 60 to 60% of our students have some job that they do. And we try to keep all the classes in the morning so that students have their afternoons to do work. We've not had to, I haven't had to do this here. I had to do it a few times at JMU, but we do tell students if they opt to work and we feel like their grades or they're not as invested as we want or need them to be, then we let them know. But we haven't had any issues. So, and I would say a fair amount do work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we offer one thing, so financial wise, we offer one student graduate assistantship per class, and that's a 33% salary, like tuition cut. So so it's pretty nice. I think it's about $35,000 tuition cut overall. And so the students just basically work with faculty, like they come to our faculty meetings and, they sort of help us order supplies and those kind of things. And they do that for their first 2 years. And then, the third year they don't because they're out on their clinicals, but that's something we offer. And we start applications for that about November before a January start date. And then we do, because of the grants that we have, many of our students get stipends for completing their research, and they also get their travel and expenses paid to conferences. So
nice.
Yeah, those are some things that we offer as well.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And so then the teaching assistant, these would be students who have taken the course previously?
No, the GAs are we have one per class, and they actually come in, they're selected for the class that they're actually in.
Okay.
And they don't do anything like grade or any of that kind of thing. They just they might help us with the calendars, just kind of more administrative types of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last question from Jamie? If not, I'll say thank you to Twyla very much. And I will be sending this out to our health sciences students and students who I know are interested in occupational therapy. And I'll encourage them to follow up with you if they have any more specific questions, things that haven't been talked about here today.
That would be great. And I'm happy to connect them with some of our students too, if they'd like to talk to them.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I will say goodbye then. Thanks for joining us, Jamie, and thank you to Twyla. And I'm stopping the recording and